say that God doesn't exist, how can we show them that he does exist?
When it comes to matters of faith, there are big questions. Our first question today is, how can we know God exists? But it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. A jigsaw puzzle is made up of many different parts that come together and fit together perfectly to create a bigger picture. And that's a bit like God. There is no one thing, but there are many things. Perhaps we can just take 3. What if we considered the world? Look at the beauty of the world that we live in. The tide comes in and the tide goes out. The sun rises and the sun sets. When we see the world, we see complexity. We see design. We see beauty. We see the traces of someone far bigger, far greater than us. We see the handiwork of God. A second part of the puzzle is humanity. Don't you think that it's a wee bit funny that regardless of who we are or where we come from in the world, that there are some universal principles? You can go to South America or South Korea or South Lochs, and everyone will agree that it's wrong to commit murder. Or everyone would agree that it is heroic to save somebody else from drowning. Why is it like this? The Bible says that God has written his law into our hearts. And that's why we know or we feel what's right and what's wrong. That points us to the reality of the existence of God. It's another piece of the puzzle. The third and final piece of the puzzle that we'll look at today is the Bible. The Bible was written hundreds, thousands of years ago by different people, and it contained many different predictions by God that have come true over the years. Some hundreds of years later, some even thousands of years later. And there is no man or woman who could have known these things. There is nobody who could have predicted the things that have come true other than God. So then, how can we know that God exists? Well, we've only had a couple of minutes to put a few pieces of the jigsaw in place. But if you consider the world that we live in, creation, nature, it points to a creator. If you consider yourself, humanity, the moral code of people, it points to one much greater than us. And when you consider the Bible, all of the things that God predicted that have come true, they point to the reality of God.